On this episode of Cape Media News, an exciting new partnership in Marstons Mills revitalizes agriculture. We learn about natural death care with Heather Massey, and Erica Gomes provides free hairstyles for children of color in foster care. These stories and more, this is Cape Media News. You're watching Cape Media News. I'm Gabrielle Rawson. Thank you for joining us. The town of Barnstable's Hyannis Main Street Business Improvement District has some exciting news this week. The Massachusetts Downtown Initiative under the Massachusetts Department of Housing and Community Development has awarded Barnstable participation in a local rapid recovery program to help downtown Hyannis businesses with short-range, actionable projects to help drive business and economic recovery. The focus of the program is to understand the unique impacts of COVID-19 on Barnstable businesses. To learn more about this and future projects in the Business Improvement District, visit hyannismainstreet.com. Well, it's that time of year again. Springtime calls for spring cleanings and cleanups, and Cape Cod is no exception. Champ Homes, a local nonprofit that provides transitional housing and support services to Cape Cod residents, has announced they're hosting an Earth Day cleanup at Veterans Beach in Hyannis on April 22nd, 2021, from 9 a.m. to noon. Directors, volunteers, and community partners plan to clean up litter that is accumulated on the heavily used 3.2-mile loop, and you can help by signing up at champhomes.org. A free service providing hairstyles for children of color in the foster care system is gaining traction in the community this week. Erica Gomes, a hair and makeup artist, recently announced she was not only providing free hairstyles for kids of color in the foster care system, but also teaching foster parents how to properly care for and style their hair. We met with Erica to learn more about her free service and its importance. Cape Media News reports. You're watching Cape Media News. I'm Gabrielle Rawson. I'm here today with Erica Gomes, who is a hairstylist and makeup artist in the New England region. Welcome to the show, Erica.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. We invited you on the show today to talk about this wonderful project that you've started. You are offering free hair services to kids of color who are living in the foster care system. Can you tell me a little bit about this service you're providing and where your inspiration for this came from?
Sure. I'll try not to talk your ear off because it could be a long story, but the short of it all was I was once in foster care myself, a brief time. I was adopted by 2 years old. So it's just a close subject to my heart, just since I went through it as a child and my siblings went through it as a child as well. I've always wanted to give back to our local DCF in ways that I could. I used to collect donations for them in terms of like clothing, diapers, stuff like that. And it dawned on me that my passion for, the hair world and textured hair, it can align with the needs of the foster families here on Cape Cod.
Absolutely. So how did this start for you? What happened? What was the first experience like, and how has it grown?
So it's still fairly new. This idea has actually been in my mind since about 2019, and I didn't really bring it into fruition until most recently. With the pandemic and the whole industry shutting down for me, I sat with myself a lot, like, what is my next step here? What can I do that's going to be more impactful and meaningful within my career? And obviously, like I said, the foster care system is close to my heart, and it dawned on me that there's such a lack here and beyond, really, of hair care, textured hair care knowledge and services, really. So I just put a status on my Facebook, really, and a lot of people shared it. So a lot of referrals came to me with people that knew foster families. So I started getting phone calls, was doing phone consultations, and then set up a couple appointments. So what really got this attention here was that photo that I shared of one family. So social media has been a great asset for me with reaching the families.
Absolutely. And one of the things I saw that you posted was that you're not just providing the hairstyles free of charge, but you're also teaching the families about hair care for this particular type of hair. Talk to me a little bit about that. What are the differences, and what
Yeah.
is the importance of providing that knowledge to these parents?
Right. So when you think about Cape Cod, you got to consider the demographics we live in. So, we're primarily like white area. So textured hair, curly hair can be unfamiliar to a lot of parents or families that foster. So every hair texture is different. So there's multiple levels depending on the hair texture, and it grows to, hair less curlier than mine to very coarse and coily hair. So how you care for that hair is actually all different. I talk a lot lately about hair porosity, and that's the ability for our hair to absorb and retain moisture. And depending on what that is as an individual, you decide what products you use and how you layer those products in the hair. So you get the best outcome. So it's less frizzy, so the coils are more pronounced depending on what your goal is with your hair. So it's all different, and you won't really know how to care for it unless you really like dig deep, and it's like a trial and error process. So I want to take that stress away from foster families when they end up with children that they're not familiar with their hair because they've never had to deal with it. So not only with providing like a service to style it, but I want to show you how you care for it when they're just in the home with them.
That's really wonderful. Talk to me a little bit about what impacts on the kids you're hoping to have on their self-esteem and on making them feel good.
Yeah, I think, a lot of these children come from so much trauma and that we will ever experience in our lifetime. And just to be able to look in the mirror, I had one little girl, and I've shared this story briefly on my social media, and she's just like, I look beautiful. And it was like, in that moment, I'm like, this is it. This is what I'm supposed to be doing. And my own experience and background, no one had hair like me as a child. No one knew how to do it. My mom didn't know how to do it. And I always wanted straight hair like the girls in my class. And most of my adulthood, I would straighten my hair because that's just what was familiar to me, because I didn't know how to care for my own hair. So I would just love to take away that part of a little girl's life when they look around them and they don't see representation like themselves, and to look in the mirror and love, what they have naturally. So that's really where my passion falls with that.
That's wonderful. And tell me, what has the community response been?
Oh my God. Okay. I'm so thankful because not only has people like shared that image so many times, and, I'm just hearing how the need is there, which was great because I knew for myself it was, but to really get that justification that this is really a need in the foster care system. But the amount of people that have messaged me about donations, and I've been getting stuff in the mail already with products and bonnets and hair care that I'm going to be able to make little goodie bags for and give to these kids when they come, so they can go home with like the right products for their hair. So that was something I did not expect, and it was just so wonderful to see the community want to support this.
That is incredible. How can people reach you if they want to get involved somehow? Or if
So
they have a child that they want to bring to you for a hairstyle?
Yeah, so right now the post on my Facebook has gotten a lot of traction. So I realized that I posted that without a contact information, just because I didn't expect it to become what it was at all. But I added my email there. That's kind of the best form of contact for me right now. And then my Facebook Messenger, I've been trying to pay extra attention to that because that's kind of where everything is coming in through right now. But the email is the best form of contact for me.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much for what you're doing in the community. It's always wonderful to see this kind of work happening. So thank you.
Well, thank you. Thank you for wanting me to speak here today. It's great.
Since starting her free hair care service, Erica has been inundated by emails and calls from people who want to help. To participate or learn more about Erica's free hair services for kids of color in the foster care system, email Erica at ericajmorales@hotmail.com. Up next, learn about natural death care with Heather Massey.
We all admire the frontline workers and first responders for their life-saving work. You too can help save a life. The simple act of blood donation takes only about an hour of your time, but it can mean the difference between life and death for patients facing COVID, cancer, surgery, or trauma right now. In fact, every 2 seconds, someone in the US needs blood. Please help a patient in need by making an appointment to donate blood. Go to redcrossblood.org today.
Did you know there are a wide variety of funeral choices that don't involve using a funeral home to say goodbye to your loved one? Local resident Heather Massey is a holistic end-of-life educator who operates In Loving Hands, a service that provides consultation on natural death care to families seeking eco-friendly body disposition. Cape Media News met with Miss Massey to learn more about why a family might choose holistic after-death care and how it can help ease bereavement and grief. Emily Tulloch reports.
Hello, you're watching Cape Media News. I'm Emily Tulloch. Today we're talking to Heather Massey of In Loving Hands to learn about what a holistic, hands-on approach to death aftercare looks like.
So In Loving Hands hopefully conjures up what we're trying to create together, and that is caring for your own loved one, yourself, or with your family, perhaps with friends or within community post-death. So this is on a legal standpoint, it is acting as your own funeral director, which is perfectly legal in Massachusetts to do all of the post-death care, including care of the body, including transportation, filling out the paperwork, and making any disposition plans that you want yourself. And so this is returning, reclaiming that care to the immediate loved ones or caregivers of somebody who has died. And a lot of people don't know that that's possible, legal. It is a little daunting for some people. And so my job is to try to help you navigate that and educate families how to do it themselves. I am not in a business of trying to be an alternative funeral director. So I'm not trying to promote coming into your home and doing this for you. I want you to think about post-death as just as an important part of life as birth, and that both take preparation thought. When you're pregnant, you take a class, you read books, you talk to other people. Likewise, in preparing for a death, it's a very powerful spiritual and emotional time for everybody, and it is something not to, I believe, to be given away to strangers. It's something that is really wonderful.
Now, why would a family choose to have this holistic sort of hands-on approach, right? Because we are a society, I feel, that can be a little put off or scared of death, especially of handling a body of our loved ones. So why would somebody choose this as an option?
The reasons for do it are as varied as there are families that have chosen to do so. Some of those are for ecological reasons. Many people have grown up caring about the earth and what's happening, and are considering their final footprint. Like, what is it that they're leaving behind? And they don't want to be in a toxic graveyard and a cemetery with a lot of embalming fluid and hard metals and etc. And they want a more simple and natural approach to death. Some people do it for the emotional reason. They want to care for their own person themselves. They want to be there. They want to accompany them as long as they possibly can. And they want to do those last acts of love for them. Some people do it because it's reviving traditions, whether it's spiritual or cultural. So many cultures have actually not stopped. We're just not aware of that, or we haven't thought about it. And so many want to just reclaim their own traditions and research where they came from and how their ancestors used to do things. Some people do it for a spiritual reason. There are a lot of spiritual perspectives on death and dying, and many of them actually kind of believe the 3 days after death are kind of very special times in which the soul is leaving the physical realm, and that they need to be very quiet and in a loving environment and be treated in certain ways. And this lends itself well to that. It's simply empowering. People want to exercise the legal right to do it. economics are huge, but it's very rarely the driving force. So of course you can save thousands of dollars by caring for your own dead, but that's really the first thing on anybody's minds. It's really about, I want to take care of my person. I don't want them to just be whisked away and I never see them again unless I choose to go across town and pay to visit them, sort of thing. That they want to have that not only control, but just have their own hand in it.
Well, Ms. Massey, thank you again so much for joining us today and for discussing In Loving Hands and a holistic approach to after-death care.
You're very welcome. Thanks for having me, Emily, and thanks for all the great questions.
Absolutely. For Cape Media News, I'm Emily Tellick.
If you'd like to learn more about natural death care, you can reach Heather Massey by emailing her at inlovinghandshomefunerals@gmail.com. Up next, exciting partnerships are in bloom at Fuller Farm in Marstons Mills.
We are strong, we are resilient, and we will get through this together. But these are stressful times, and it's important to also practice good self-care. It's normal to feel overwhelmed, anxious, or afraid, but there is hope. Reach out to someone, connect with your friends, stay in touch with your community, and know that you are not alone. Learn more at wearebroadcasters.com/hope. Furnished by the National Association of Broadcasters and this station.
Welcome back to Cape Media News. I'm Gabrielle Rawson. An exciting new project has a Marstons Mills farm returning back to its agricultural roots. Barnstable Land Trust, in partnership with Resilient Roots, are teaming up to plant a permaculture demonstration garden and a food forest at Fuller Farm. The garden is designed to operate as an educational tool to teach the community about gardening, support local pollinators like bees and hummingbirds, and to improve soil for the area. Emily Tulloch reports.
Hello, I'm Emily Tulloch, and you're watching Cape Media News. Joining us today is Executive Director of Barnstable Land Trust, Janet Milkman, and Christy Kapp, Executive Director of Resilient Roots. And we're going to be discussing an exciting new project they're teaming up to work on together. So let's talk about the project happening at Fuller Farm in Marstons Mills. You guys are planting a demonstration garden, and you're also bringing educational programming to the farm. Can you tell us more about that? And do you anticipate teaming up for more projects like this in the future?
So the specific project that we're doing at Fuller Farm is just a 3/4 acre chunk of the whole farm, kind of close to where the homestead was to begin with. And as you said, we are just starting the development of a series of gardens plus a food forest. And what we're trying to do is to show people how they can, in their own backyards, do some of these things. They have a place that they can now come and see how it's gonna look, which is a little different than your typical vegetable garden or even your typical Cape Cod backyard with a lot of lawn. So we're going to be trying to mimic natural ecosystems in our gardening effects. So what we're trying to do is we're trying to enhance wildlife habitat and protect the water resources and to mitigate climate change effects by planting more things that are going to sequester carbon. And we're doing all this in a way that is very demonstratable, very visual, so that people can come walk through these gardens and start to visualize how they can do this in their own backyards.
For context, this is a 22-acre farm and one of the few remaining sort of open fields. Half of it is open field and half of it is woodland with a lovely trail on it. So as Christy said earlier, bringing this back to be a point of engagement and learning for our community is so important. It hasn't been actively farmed since the 50s. So we're sort of bringing it back into the 21st century, our new perspective on farming. And for the Land Trust, it's a great new project, not only because of the wonderful relationship with Resilient Roots, but also because conservation is so much more than just protecting land from development. It's all about helping people reconnect with the land. We've seen so many people come out during these difficult times of COVID who may not have really been used to being outside or walking trails. And so it's just wonderful timing, and a great opportunity to connect with Christy, who's such a leader in her field, and to be able to open up the farm for programming, not only with Resilient Roots, but also we hope in future to have some livestock grazing, perhaps goats or sheep, and possibly some other kind of incubator style gardening there, so that we can become a point of learning and sharing for these really, really important issues. It's really, really important for all the reasons Christy said, but also for people to know where their food comes from and see it, touch it, feel it, all those great things.
Well, thank you both for joining us today, and thank you for all of the important work you're doing in our community for our natural ecosystems.
You can find out more information about this project by visiting blt.org or resilientrootscapecod.org. Well, that brings this episode of Cape Media News to a close. Please follow us on Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram. And thank you so much for watching. We'll be back next time with a brand new episode. Until then, stay healthy. With Cape Media News, I'm Gabrielle Rawson.